And we are back! And I have new equipment, so hopefully it all works still. And yeah, this is Magic Fix Radio. I'm Ms. Chrysala, and I'm sort of the channel... I am the channel producer. And if you'll notice, we are down a couple players because new year, new scheduling conflicts. But in a silver lining way, that means we are open to new cast members. I have posted about it on the Magic Fish Radio Twitters. There will soon be 8 million links to our Discord and chats. Join our Discord if you're interested in streaming with us. Up front, we have no income on this channel, so we cannot pay anyone. And if you are a pro performer and that's a problem, then by all means, don't game with us. No hard feelings. But still join our Discord, because we're chill. So yeah, we are looking for at least one, if not two new players to join our weird 1920s vampire game that is very, very fun because we are all history nerds here. Woohoo! And deep lore nerds, and boy, is London gonna be even weirder than I thought it would. So yeah, just join our Discord, talk to me on Twitter. We are also going to start doing more of the indie RPG one-shots on Saturday nights. Every other week from Exit to Eden, which is our NWAD in space game. So also join our Discord, or bug me on Twitter if you are an indie TTRPG writer, developer, contributor, fan, and want to run a one-shot on our channel. And then have that one shot on the internet in case anyone else is curious about what it looks like to play your game. And that's all the producer stuff I have to talk about. So John, storyteller John. That's right. This is OWAD. Over to you. What do you have to torture us with today?
One could argue that it's newest WAD, but that's besides that. So yes. Thank you all for joining us. Sorry for the hiatus, but I sell alcohol for a living, and the past few weeks have been, well, it's been Christmas and New Year's. If you've ever been in a liquor store during the Christmas New Year's season, you have some vague idea of what it's like. Then imagine that for 10 hours a day, or 12, for 11 or 12 days in the span of 2 weeks, right around those two holidays, and you'll understand why burnout is a thing that happens for me, not from gaming, but from life. But that's not why we're all here. We're all here to be a bunch of blood-drinking monsters running around in the roaring 20s. So as a quick recap, for those who may have had their brains go a little foggy on us, our coterie of bold adventurers are currently on their way to glorious London town, Londinium itself. The city of, well, how best to put this? It is the city that has had the longest single-serving prince, because it doesn't really matter who else is sitting on the throne, because the prince is always Mithras. They are coming here as part of a journey through Europe as reward for services rendered to their home city of Boston, aiding the Prince Quentin King with an incursion from outside forces that have been... the events still happened, but most of the antagonists have sort of been retconned out, and I haven't decided what to retcon them with yet, because... turns out what I thought was fun was more troubling for others than I had originally anticipated.
And that's why it was a pilot.
Yes.
And this is the OVA.
Yes, this is once we've been put into syndication after the producers have gone through changing everything. And now we end our first leg of our journey with the Night Flyers. Not maiden voyage, it's already done one of those. Landing now outside of London town, where you will all be taken away and left to rest until the evening, because the dawn's light is beginning to come. As you all head back to your rooms on the eve just before landing, you are greeted by caskets that have been brought to your rooms. Again, they don't actually look like caskets, but it's the purpose they serve. The same way that you were transported on, they will transport you off because you are now present in the day, and that could be bad for you.
Oh, should we introduce characters?
I was going to do that right after the recap.
Okay. Oh, right. Recap.
Yeah.
Keep recapping.
At
I'm fixing a thing.
That's all right. At which point you would all then be brought in to make your introductions to the prince, or the acting prince of London, Queen Anne. And with us about to get started, we shall now run through the character introductions one more. From my perspective, we'll start with Vern just below me.
Hi, I'm Dracus. I'm playing Vern, who is formerly a upper-class socialite from Boston, and I'm on this trip to go try to find my sire in Vienna. I just want to talk. I just want to talk.
As the bullets are loaded in the gun. Moving counterclockwise, dear Aerie.
Hello, yes, I'm Ari. I play Isabel Quincy, Vern's lovely sister. I do not who has a similar job to John, but way more exciting because it's the 1920s. And also she's more in the management than the bartending. But that's different. Anyway,
I see the misunderstanding. I don't bartend. I retail.
Sorry.
No worries. It's worse.
Really?
Arguably.
I apologize for the misconception there.
No worries. We can get into that later.
Yeah, I get the difference. I've been in a liquor store. I must have misheard the store part a bunch of times. Anyway, no. Okay. Isabel does something radically different from what John does, but it does involve alcohol, and it's very illegal. And the point is, she is here to find out what the heck's going on with her sire. She actually does want to talk.
Imagine wanting to just talk to your sire.
Well, her sire's back in Boston. She wanted to figure out what the hell's going on.
She's trying to figure out why your sire won't talk.
Exactly.
The trauma.
Well, if he's going to be vague, I'm just going to go be intrepid then.
Good plan.
Kindred
You
have
say
died.
that now.
And we'll round things off with our producer.
I'm Ms. Chrysilla. I'm playing Charisse Lowell, who is a slightly older, at least a little bit older than these other two, and is a Malkavian, and, well, she's technically looking for her sire, although she talks to him frequently. We can't find him. Hashtag Malklife. But she is heading off to... Where is my is in Paris?
Part of your...
I'm looking for a magic tome of magic. Which city is it in? And that's all I need to know. Paris?
Yes.
Okay. And, yeah, so... I just realized I'm now the chaperone.
Yep.
Because I'm technically the eldest... Oh, goodness gracious. You have
put you in charge.
Oh, just wait. There's stuff you don't know yet. Okay.
Chaperone to two actual siblings, which is great.
And actual children. We're like barely not children by mortal standards. Come on.
Yeah, that's true.
You are definitely neonates in Kindred Society. That's
Yep.
true.
What's funny is my character is from London originally, but she was embraced in the US and hasn't been back since. So she didn't realize there was a sleeping Methuselah under the city that was trying to break into the Malk network just by being there, and wow, we don't want to stay in London very long.
Yeah,
wow.
If you had been a kindred at the time you were embraced, the only prince you would have known would have been Queen Anne, but you would have heard of Mithras.
Anywho, so
6 1 half dozen the other, and then our missing party member, Bart Killian, has wound up getting himself tied up in various numerous business propositions, which is going to keep him busy for the rest of this narrative, and will ultimately result in less of an experience bump, but much more of a finance bump. because he rolled really, really fucking well. But that's besides the point.
Speaking of rolls, chat, we don't do things in cash here, we do things in channel points. So you can buy stuff in the channel points tag with your channel points to help or hinder the people on this screen. So you can buy +1s for the players, or for the players you can buy +1s for our rolls, willpower points, or turn a...
You steal failure
Turn a
into a
ba-
critical.
Yes, which we will get to when it happens. It's a V5 thing. And for the GM, you can buy GM +1s. The GM currently has 16 +1s. We have a pool of 5 +1s. So GM, please tell me when you're using one, either here or in the Zoom chat, so I can mark it down.
I will. I have not used any yet because they either would have been overkill or would have not changed anything. Because I've either rolled a dozen successes or I've rolled no successes.
Specifically, when it's Ace the Hellhound rolling, it's a dozen successes, and when any NPC that he's attacking or being attacked by, it's 0 successes, because Twitch is magic. Or rather, live streaming an RPG with dice rolls is live is magic.
Well, let's see what happens now that you're all in London town. So
Yes, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, Charisse wants to present herself to the present herself to the prince, and then get the hell out of London as quickly as possible.
yes.
Before
That was the plan, yes.
before the monster sleeping under the city tries to eat her brain.
So you all climb inside your caskets to be taken to a safe house, upon which you will then be allowed to wake, freshen up, dress, all as common courtesy of your first-class tickets aboard Night Flyer. Again, acquired by your patron, the Prince Quentin King, and his connections to at least one member of the coterie or the cartel that is behind this production, and its slowly blossoming enterprise, which they hope will radically change the way the world works going forward. If nothing else, to encourage kindred to move about and stop clustering so bloody much, making them easy to wipe out. And also to maybe start spreading out so that they can start stomping out Sabbat infections, but that's besides the point.
What are you talking about? No weapon can wipe out an entire city. Because this is the 1920s. That doesn't exist yet.
Yeah, it does. There are weapons that exist right now that can wipe out entire cities.
Because mages. Frickin'
I'm not
mages.
even talking about the one the mages have. Kindred have.
Oh.
Well, I mean, if Mithras was to wake up, probably a lot of people would die.
Yes.
And a lot of infrastructure would die.
It's just that the boring old mortals don't have ways to wipe each other off the face of the earth yet.
Yes.
This is probably fine.
The
I don't think
all have ways.
I don't think Vern or Isabel know about them.
You've heard of werewolves, you've heard of mages, you don't know how powerful they can get. You have some idea for how powerful a kindred can get, but you really don't know. But that's
not in Boston.
In any event, the three of you wind up coming to each in your own individual rooms, and you awaken to chambers that are lavishly decorated and are immaculately maintained. You imagine that you're in some first-class hotel or another, because it just has that very hotel vibe to the arrangement of the furniture, like that very much. This is not like a guest room or something. This is a hotel, but everything is impeccably maintained, and each of you are greeted by one person already present in the chamber. As each of you awaken, they greet you with deep and polite bows and welcome you to the city of London. They are. Oh, actually, important. You all woke up. All of you roll me rouse checks, please.
All right.
Remind me how that works.
Yeah, I forgot.
1d10. 6 or better is a success. 5 or lower is a failure.
I have failed.
I have also failed.
Then each of you
I
has your.
have also failed.
Then all of you have your hunger go up by 1.
Wait, hang on. What? Yeah, it's just like, yeah, successors. Yep. All right. So we're all hungry.
Yes. Which the attendant who is present says that they are here to help you gather up your things and take them wherever you wish to go. They were informed that you were not staying in London and were proceeding onward from this point, but they are also here to provide you with sustenance, as that is part of their purpose and part of the package.
Oh yes, so this is still people from the company, not the town, not
Yes.
not London. Okay. Oh yes.
I mean, this might be a service being provided by London, as far as you know, but it's a safer impression to assume that they are from the industry.
All right. Thank you. I will have a bit of sup, if just to bring my hunger back down to 1.
Mm-hmm.
This will
I will
Same.
save you all the wisdom roll of going that draining them dry while removing all of your hunger would probably not reflect super well.
Oh yeah. Jeez.
You didn't pay for the deluxe first class package, is what I'm telling you.
My character doesn't know that, so yeah. Okay.
It's rude. It's rude to kill again. It's rude to kill the help.
On the other hand, it wouldn't be the first corporation that puts profits over the lives of its employees.
Sure, but it's very gauche to kill the help.
True.
Well, here's the other thing: is if the help has not been successful, then the best use for them is to wind up giving a better degree of service towards the final meal of your clients.
Oh, no,
This is kindred mentality.
Oh no, this was a lovely trip. I had a wonderful time.
So yes, each of them bear neck or wrist or inner thigh, whichever you prefer to feed from. And you are all free to feed and restore yourselves back down to 1 hunger. After which they step aside, a little paler, a little woozier, but ask if there is anything else you need them to set aside or organize while you are going to greet the prince before moving on your way. All right, if there is nothing else, then the 3 ghouls will excuse themselves, unless one of you mentions that you need assistance dressing. And otherwise, you are each left to your own desires to get yourselves prepared to go and meet the prince, which Charisse learned about and then informed the rest of you. This is a city that has one of the highest congregations of Ventru in the world, certainly within the Camarilla. This is the city of Ventru. This is the city where the second oldest living Ventru dwells in torpor beneath the city streets. And this is a city where the high clans are the high clans, but the Ventru are definitely the highest of the high clans, meaning if Isabel doesn't measure up, it could take a hit to her standing here and then in any other European city and amongst the Ventru in general. But you were warned about this.
I was.
Yes. So you were all given an opportunity to dress up, tidy yourselves, put on your finest clothing so as to look the most high of high clans, if you so wish, and to, maybe take your time, especially for the Ventru, to be able to recite your entire lineage all the way back to the antediluvian, as Ventru are often wont to do, so proud of their bloodlines they are.
Oh yes, Isabel knows how. So is this take? So you're asking me. So what you're saying is you're asking me to roll charisma etiquette now?
It will be when you get there.
Okay.
If you wish to roll for it, yes.
Yes, Isabel's just like reciting it in her mind. She hasn't really had much reason to back in Boston, but well, Johann was always went while he was light on the details about them. He could and often did recite the full lineage.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're back in the old country. You're one of those new country, Von True.
Well, I mean...
Oh, New World, Von True.
If you want to go old country, old world, you have to go a little further south.
Yes. Rome.
Yeah, Kindred didn't start in Europe. It's where they exploded, but it's not where they started. But yes, once you are all ready and head to the doors, you are greeted by a different ghoul. And as you look up and down the hallways, you do see your fellow coterie mates and a few other people coming out of their chambers, being permitted to go and move about their business. Each of you are greeted by a ghoul that, again, bows politely and escorts you on your way. You are led down the hallway to an elevator, and you are let down a few at a time, entering into this, one might almost call it a garish lobby. There's a lot of gold in weaves and spirals. There's a lot of carved vine and leaf reliefs on pillars that aren't actually there serving a purpose. They're there purely for decoration. There's a lot of recreations of famous bits of artwork, and nope, those two are real. Yes.
I would like to do an auspexing, or even just an occult roll to see if, all of this gaudy finery really is pointless, or if there's a more subtle magical point. Or hiding something else. Because I'm compulsive like that.
That makes perfect sense. I will not hold that against you. And which Auspex power are you using?
I don't think Scry the Soul really is necessary, so heightened senses.
Okay.
So I guess sensing, like, are there echoes behind that wall that wouldn't be there unless there was a secret passage, and just looking very closely at things for weird lines and breaks and stuff. So, now I have to remember how to roll dice again. Okay. That's...
So for Auspex heightened senses, let me...
Int...
Here we go.
Int awareness Auspex.
Dice pools, wits resolve. The user adds their Auspex rating to all perception rolls. If exposed to extreme sensations, you have to do wits resolve. Okay, yeah. So, because you are taking a look at things, make me a... I need to look at a character sheet real quick to remember all the skills here. Are you trying to get, like, really in on things to get, like, a good look at them?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, make me a... We'll call this intelligence investigation plus your Auspex.
Okay. And if anyone asks, I'm just admiring the art.
Mm-hmm. Just leave this out to remind myself of the skills.
That's 9 dice. Be 10 if I was rolling awareness, but this is investigation.
Well, you're getting a little more involved here. Like, you're trying to... It's not just a casual glance around. You're trying to actively... You know, you're much more involved in the investigation.
I hear a hungry cat behind one of the walls.
Less hungry, more mommy pet me. I want attention at this particular moment.
Papa! Papa! I am required to be worshipped, Papa! Yeah, no. Sorry,
No,
that's...
it is definitely Mama at this point.
Mama!
He's definitely going for mommy.
Okay, so that is 9 dice, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4... It's success is 6 or higher, right?
6 or higher,
I don't...
10's count 2.
Yes,
Don't forget to replace one of those die with a hunger die.
Oh, I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
It's been a couple weeks.
That is 7 successes.
Okay. 7 successes. As you look around, you're not noticing anything of an inherently magical nature. You are noticing that there are markings denoting that this hotel is in fact a Toreador haven.
Okay.
But there is
A haven, not just a rack or a second Elysium. A haven. Oh dear. Okay.
You imagine it is specifically a Toreador's haven.
Okay, so don't fuck around. Don't fuck around. Don't find out.
Yep. More or less. Though it is probably safe to assume that the Toreador here is the one who is involved with Nightflyer, as you were taken here to this establishment.
True. Okay.
So, all the more reason to still not piss them off, because they've been pretty good to you so far, and they're going to be a more reasonable way home than boat.
Yes. But havens, yeah, you just... It's one thing if it's a holding. It's another thing if it's a haven. Just don't mess with it.
No.
Out of character, remind me what's special about a haven again?
A haven is
where you live. It is your safe space. It is protected. Yeah.
Yeah, a haven is something that either a coterie of kindred need to defend, or something that a single powerful kindred has as something beyond just a mere holding.
Yeah, I've got one of those.
Yeah.
Actually,
not quite like this, but yes, you have you have the beginnings of what they have.
Yes.
You've got a couple centuries to go before you get to where that.
I have 1 dot of haven. This is 5 dots of haven.
This might be more like 10 dots of haven.
Can you get 10 dots of haven? Is that a thing?
For NPCs, yes.
Here's the thing: is with haven, especially with haven as a background, you are not as a background as a resource. You can purchase sub-dots under haven for specific things within it. So it is possible to have a 10-dot or more haven, even though haven might only have 4 dots in it. But
Right.
But you bought sub-dots in security, in things like technology for like leisure stuff, or for additional securities, or for a safe or a safe room, or things like that. So in that case, because of its unique design, that one can have more than 5 dots until they release like a low generations source book, which Renegade might, they might not. Even if they do, who knows when it'll actually release. That being said, you are all escorted out, and you are all brought into rather handsome carriages. Many gather together as individuals or in pairs and are escorted on. Because you 3 were listed as having come together, you 3 of you are brought onto the same carriage, and the door is closed. And then, without having to tell the driver anything, you are taken off on your way to Elysium, where you will be brought to court. It is at this moment, the 3 of you looking at each other and how nicely you're all dressed. And Vern, when you got in there, you found a very, very nice suit that was pressed there, tailored for you. You don't remember your measurements being taken. It looks almost ridiculous for a Nosferatu to have a suit on, but you know that because this place is full of Ventru, it's gonna piss them off. So you don't know who did this, but there's this tiny little part of you that's just going, oh yeah, someone here gets it.
And I definitely asked for help dressing so that I don't get my buttons mixed up, because I do that a lot.
Oh yeah, no.
But I'm like, straightening my tie. Been a while since I wore something like this.
Your attendant makes sure to adjust the package for maximum comfort. Nothing sexual about it, just entirely within the course of, there we go, now it sits right.
And then I'm like, haha, I'm going to piss someone off when I walk outside today.
I will say, the entryway when you were walking out seemed a lot more empty than you would have expected for a hotel. And everyone walking around didn't seem to notice you much. You imagine that this might have been a separate entrance or exit exclusively for kindred clientele.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the main entrance isn't quite so garish, or could be more garish. You're not sure. It does help to milk the kine of their cash in order to keep the kindred flush.
Also, you have to be careful making things too fancy in front of other Toreador, or they get stuck going, if that's still the clan flaw.
It is to a point, but the Tories can also now be in extreme emotional distress from not being around pretty things for long periods of time.
They gave
if
them
you-
ennui?
If you actively put them in an area where they are exposed to just unattractiveness without any sort of beauty for extended periods of time, they can start going a bit manic, almost like they're going through withdrawal.
Oh, goodness.
To be fair, there's a certain point of like fanciness. I think a lot of Toreador will go, this isn't even art anymore. You're just like putting more bells and whistles on.
To be fair, that depends on the Toreador.
Of course.
Because there are some Toreador who have no taste. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and some Toreador never really had eyes, I guess. Because there are things they deem beautiful where everyone else is like...
And then there are inevitably some Toreador just trying to piss the rest off because they're some kind of shock artist.
Mm-hmm.
Or gonzo journalist or something.
Honestly, when pop art became a thing and the first Toreador was entranced with that, all the other ones just...
But it's a soup can.
It's a soup.
It's a soup
Why are you
can.
looking at this?
Anyway. As you're all gathered here, and Vern is looking very handsome in his suit, but both of you went out to buy new dresses for this event, so you didn't really need to have anything brought for you. But the three of you realize that there's a little more room in this carriage than you were originally anticipating, and no smell of dog.
Oh. Alright, I guess, Mr. Killian, has found new business venture to follow. Rather than our, personal quests.
Have to admit, it's nice not to have him hovering over me all the time.
Do miss the dog.
It's the dog.
He's a very good dog.
Perhaps
Very
we'll run into them again.
Maybe.
Perhaps we'll run into the dog again.
That would be nice.
Regardless, I hope one or both of you is prepared to take point in talking here, because I am not. Just gonna put that out there.
Out of character question, does Vern have Mask of 1,000 Faces, or does Vern just look al natural nos all the time?
Vern just looks nos all the time.
Oh, okay. Understood. Well,
I can take point in this. It's supposed to be, listen, like...
Well, you're the Von True in the coterie.
I may not be, like, the most traditional Von True, but trust me, I know how Johann conducts his business, and I know he's from the old country. Surely it shouldn't be that different from how he handles things.
I mean, he left the old country for a reason, I presume.
Certainly, but well, I've learned some stuff here and there about how to handle myself here. He was at least willing to be forthcoming there.
All right.
Even if he wasn't on certain bits of information I'd like to learn.
And you're sure he wasn't taking the mickey? Is that the right term?
Roll me charisma plus etiquette to see.
Me?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, a quick. Yep, I can do. 1, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7. So that's 4 successes.
You're reasonably certain you can do this. You feel pretty confident that based on how he talked about how things worked in the Vienna court, you've got this on lock.
Yes.
You're pretty
Yes.
sure you know what's going on here. I mean, how different could London be from Vienna after all?
I don't trust the GM's tone of voice right now. I'd just like to state that for the
Out of
record.
character, I don't either. But Isabel
Okay.
has no reason not to, because the GM told her that's what she thinks. Anyway,
And sure-
besides, this is what she was supposed to. This is what she was supposed to be in her mortal life. A socialite meeting with the right people to make sure they're talking to the right ears, so that they eventually find a husband. Ugh.
All right,
That's
dear.
what I was supposed to be in my mortal life too, and here I am.
Taken.
All right. If you want to take the lead on this, if you change your mind, just ask.
If I need
Just-
some backup
just-
from either of you, besides,
Just remember, this isn't just a Von True court. It's a Von True cult.
I
These
heard you'd mentioned that,
could
yes.
be somewhat, not so much the aristocracy or the institution.
Mhm.
They are fanatics.
Fanatics towards Mithras, however.
Yes, but I would recommend you don't bring that up. Unless they bring it up first. Also, it is a fine balancing act between not accidentally stepping on their beliefs, but also not giving them the reason they think they need to drag you into their cult.
Real quick, when you I would like you all to make a wits awareness check.
Oh no! I'm
It's
speaking
funny.
very quietly.
I'm sorry. I messed up.
No, I think I messed up by saying they're a cult of fanatics. I think I'm the one who's in trouble
I
now.
thought I messed up for just mentioning the name Mithras.
Wits awareness?
Yes.
Oh dear.
Two successes.
May I add my Auspex because I'm an Auspex
please add your
addict?
facts. I insist.
Please add your
Oh.
aspect. Oh no. Oh, is this like one of those Call of Cthulhu rules where you want to fail because if you do fail, you find out the thing? And
Oh,
it's not
no!
to find out the thing? Is it one of those?
Is it 6 and up is a success?
There's an eldritch horror living under the
Then I
city, and we
have
just talked
4
about it.
successes.
We already knew
Okay.
about the Eldritch Horror living under London. He's a jerk. Anyway.
Sorry, I'm counting a lot of dice.
Take your time.
It is funny to think. It is funny to think about how like a lot of the Eldritch Horrors in the vampire setting all just kind of used to be just some guy. Like all of the
Yeah.
Antediluvians used to be just some guy.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of the Eldritch Horrors in the World of Darkness setting also are the Eldritch Horrors from Between the Stars, according to the Mage cosmology,
Fair enough.
or things from another plane, according to the Garu cosmology. It just so happens that a small fraction of them are also just old-ass kindred.
They're just
Again, so ones aren't a big deal unless I have 0 successes, right?
Ones aren't a big deal unless you have 0 successes, A, or B, they are ones on your hunger die.
That is not a 1 on my hunger die.
Okay.
I got a 10 on my hunger die, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 successes.
2, 4, and 6. Awesome.
I'm
Is it-
dead.
When you say the name Mithras, you feel a chill run up your back.
Oh goodness.
Vern, for the first time in the longest time, you feel goosebumps form up and down your arms. What little hair you still have left just starts to come up on end just after Isabel says the name Mithras. And you've all said this name before. You've not had this reaction before, and you're not sure why.
Because he can hear us.
I'm just gonna be like,
Oh dear.
When Isabel says the name Mithras, you hear thunder in the distance. You see a flash of lightning in what was otherwise a clear sky. You hear horses neigh like someone just said Frau Blücher in Young Frankenstein.
Charisse, are you okay?
Did anyone else hear the thunderclap?
And
The what?
you definitely, undeniably feel a presence with you now. And why does it look like there's a butt imprint in the seat next to Vern?
So,
Charisse, is
and I
looking-
would at
looking-
one
looking-
moment, GM, I'm gonna assume that presence is not Dad, or not my
He's
dad.
not.
Okay.
It is not.
Is someone sitting next to Isabel, maybe we should not mention that person's name in their city. Because a lot of weird things just happened. Also, there's someone sitting next to Vern all of a sudden.
When
Isabel reaches out her hand to attempt to touch the invisible thing that's
I'm
next
gonna
to Fern
smack your
immediately.
hand away.
Immediately, Isabel goes for it.
There's nothing there. When you turn back to look at the
No.
sheet after talking to Isabel, the indentation's no longer there.
All right.
Nothing there. What are you
New
talking about?
new rule. Let's just not mention that name
Mhm.
in
Perhaps we don't
their
mention
city.
anything that we deem important while we're here.
What if you just say a different Babylonian god, like Gilgamesh or something? Oh, good. That didn't do anything.
Did it?
I need you all to roll me wits awareness again, please.
Oh, God.
Are you kidding me? What if I just said
Isabel's already causing problems, and we're not even at Elysium yet.
For 2 reasons. 1, Gilgamesh is a kindred, and 2, around this time he is in London.
Okay, this one you can't give me crap for. This one I had no way of knowing would be a problem.
I was more worried that Mithras hates him. And just like, you said what? Oh, that is... Whoa. Okay. Dude.
I don't know why that didn't occur to me.
Dude. 4... That is 8 successes.
Oh.
8. So 1, 2, and 8. Awesome. Yeah, you get that. You get a quick chill. You're not. Both of you get. Isabel and Vern. You both get that.
Okay, so no ancient. So
what's
no
that?
mentioning ancient deities.
Let's just not mention any of this again after this carriage ride, and then we'll just get out of London as quickly as possible.
Charisse,
Oh
when you turn away from this conversation and look at the window of the carriage, you do not see your own reflection.
no.
You see staring back at you the reflection of a strong masculine face with dark features staring back intensely, not at you, but just slightly past you.
Towards whom?
Isabel. The eyes drift to look into yours for a moment, and then he just smiles and does this. And he just leans back out of your reflection, leaving your own staring there wide-eyed.
Did Isabel see that?
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
Charisse, are you okay?
Isabella, are you quite sure you want to take the lead on this in court? Apparently the other person you mentioned might also exist here. Or someone by that name. So let's just be careful about who we talk about.
I promise I won't mention anything older than 100 years old. Maybe that will be a problem.
Maybe we
Unless
just
I
don't
say,
take
Napoleon,
chances
does
on
that do
anything.
Napoleon, does that do anything?
Why are you still trying?
Why are you doing this?
Looking to just
I was pretty sure
get
it wouldn't do anything if I
supernaturally
said
destroyed?
We're not even going to make it to Elysium!
Be supernaturally
To be fair, Napoleon, not that low on the kindred scale, and he's probably still in France.
I'm sorry, wait, Napoleon's a kindred also? Are you kidding?
Yeah, no shit.
Possibly.
Is everyone important to kindred?
Went into exile is generally a euphemism for became immortal and
Okay,
went to
Napoleon-
hiding. Alright.
Actually, you know what?
No!
Roll me an intelligence history check.
Are you kidding?
Which one of
To see
us?
wait, is history still a skill here? I forgot.
Might be academics.
Academics is a skill.
Yeah. Roll me either intelligence academics or intelligence occults to see if you know if Napoleon is a kindred or not.
Me or all of
Anyone
us?
who wants to.
Okay.
Anyone who wants to, now that it's come up.
2 successes every roll so far.
Int occult.
Or into academics, whichever you prefer.
I
my
don't
occult
think
is...
this is information I have reason to know.
I mean, you're Nosferatu. There's no information you shouldn't know.
Fair enough. I just don't have dots in either academics or occult.
So just roll your intelligence then.
Okay.
That's only 8 dice.
1 success.
Okay.
It's only 8 dice.
I mean, I use this, Charisse has the specialized point distribution, so. That doesn't count, and 4 successes.
4 successes, cool.
Napoleon would, I wonder what clan Napoleon would be. Ventrue or Bruja? Depends.
So, yeah, the two Quincy siblings. No, I mean that'd be silly. I mean, that's no way. That's not
some pulp. That's some pulp like novel shit. We have plenty of those.
Charisse, your sire leans and he goes, "My love, he does tend to prefer his privacy. I mean, that was the whole exile thing. I mean, you."
So Isabel says, "Can I talk about Napoleon?" And Charisse just goes like,
Okay, nobody. Fine.
He's the same generation I am, dear. He's not gonna have the power to do anything like that from this far away. You don't need to worry. You can say, well, I wouldn't say his name in the court because there are a couple people here that
"Well, no, it's England." And I think at this point she just starts speaking to him. It's England. We don't talk about Napoleon here.
Yeah.
Also, yes, that. All right.
However, I will point out it was an incredible blessing. And this also proves something very important because there's been a long line of dispute as to whether or not Gilgamesh was a Bruja or a Malkavian. We've just proven it. He's one of us.
I'm sorry, wait. Do we all have to make the... Because this guy as a ghost mentioned Gilgamesh, do we now have to make the roll again to notice?
Well, I dare...
Okay.
So yeah, so first of Napoleon, and then she kind of like goes, huh, and kind of thinks now. It's like, you know, that strangely makes me feel better. Okay. I probably shouldn't,
As a new voice
but...
in the back of your head goes, "I'm so glad. I did not mean to cause you discomfort."
It's like, oh, it's quite all right. I was warned London is a much stranger place than it was when I was, well, much stranger than I knew when I was mortal, so I'm a little surprised, but no, it's quite all right. Thank you for checking in, though. Very kind of you, sir.
Not at all, not at all. Just going to take some time to make sure somebody's going to stay asleep for a little while before I go back to traveling.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah, a couple of us Methuselah try to come around every once in a while to make sure he stays down there because he tends to get a little uppity and world conquery.
I can imagine so. All right. Well, I will do my best to stay out of your way. We are just in and out of London, and then we are on to Paris. It was very nice making your acquaintance, sir.
My absolute favorite thing about this is you just implied the 100 days were made after he became a vampire?
Anyway, I have to get back to advising our Ventrue friend to make sure she doesn't get us all killed.
I'm sorry.
No, she's saying this internally, like that.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, this I thought meant Auspics.
Some of this you mentioned was out loud, so that's why.
That one bit was out loud, and then Charisse remembered herself. Because other Malks started talking to her, and is like, oh, it's, Malk Network. It's like a warm mental blanket around your brain sometimes. Sometimes it's really bad. Sometimes it's, oh, my family's here. Okay.
Sorry about that.
My condolences on now.
What did he say?
Should I pass my condolences on now?
Hopefully that's a little... we'll see. I will accept them now. It's fine.
You're reaching a dangerous branching point, so it really depends on the phrases your invoking friend there chooses in the near future.
Branching point. For our history or that of the city? Or both?
Oh, no. personal future.
Oh, all right. Okay, that's
We
manageable.
Barbarians, we can get an idea of the future, but then all these people making decisions every once in a while.
Oh, yes.
We see the things that are most likely to occur, sometimes the things that are least likely. And especially when you try looking into the close future, you see where all the breaches are, and it can get very, very confusing unless you spend several thousand years getting used to it.
Yes, even if we weren't where we are with the current quiet company, this would probably be quite a big milestone for the young lady, as she is a very young Von True and is about to go to one of the most Von Truiest cities in the world. So,
Yes, Bithris made sure of that.
all right. Well, again, thank you for checking in. That is all very interesting. I'll see if I can advise my companions accordingly.
Yes, make sure she doesn't let slip that I'm potentially in the city.
Oh, I'm not telling her anything about that. We'll just
I meant
assume.
just saying my name. Just don't.
All right.
You can say my name to tell her never to say my name ever again. Because if she says my name in front of the wrong people in that court, then some of them are going to become aware that I'm here, and it's just going to cause a whole huge problem.
All right. I know how to spin this. No, not to worry.
Excellent. Carry on, child.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. And
You.
all right.
She's got a bright future ahead of her. You take care of her. Always, sir.
Marguerite. Wrong character. Charisse is just. Yes, Charisse is clearly having. I don't know if you've ever noticed her having conversations in her head with something you can't see, but
I
she's.
feel like we've known her long enough to like have a sense for it. Yeah.
So she's kind of like, huh? Oh.
You're making facial expressions as you chat.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have allies across the veil, shall we say, and they have opinions. Don't mention that first name. Also, don't mention that second name here.
Okay.
Napoleon, is not old enough to be an unmentionable he who must not be named
I'm
ever.
sorry, what?
Yes, he's kindred apparent. He's been known to be kindred. I don't quite know whose family he's part of, but it's the whole exile thing. You'd be surprised at how often that's a euphemism for transitioned into immortality.
I don't think I even can be surprised about that, but okay.
I mean, ultimately, I mean, this is England. I suggest not mentioning Napoleon.
Right, of course.
So
That's just basic politics.
Yes,
Yes.
obviously. I was just throwing out a random name. I didn't expect that to be Jesus. Jesus Christ. I can mention his
Okay,
name, right?
do me a favor. Roll.
Oh
Are you
Mistakes
kidding
have
me?
been made.
Or can I not mention his name either? I'm just gonna keep throwing out names. It's always gonna be bad every time.
no! So Isabel, with all this in mind, that we are now in the land where ancient powers thought by the mortals to be completely mythological are real people who can hear you if you even say their name aloud. Are you sure you want to take point on this? I'm not saying you shouldn't, but it's just, are you sure? Because this is a world of greater myth and magic and truth than you have experienced in Boston. And honestly, I've only read about it because I was embraced in the United States and I was only immortal when I was here. So, as far as she knows. So, I
understand what you're getting at here.
I recommend, if you want to take point on this, that makes sense, as you are the Von True in our traveling coterie. Stick with the Von True things you have first-hand experience with. The names of your sire and your lineage? Great. Don't speculate about ancient powers. And assume, just act like everything the Queen tells you is correct.
Mm-hmm.
And she's right about everything.
But don't agree so enthusiastically such that she feels that I may be a good mark to induct into her cult.
That would be a good idea, yes.
I think
So
that's
yes,
like
be untrue. Just, hello, I am here to be wonderful in the face of be wonderful in the presence of my elders and adore my elders. Aren't I such a good... Oh, that's very patronizing. I'm sorry.
A little. Don't worry. Listen. Just because I became turned in an attempt to get away from some of the like fancy smanchy all the schmoozing and the like all of the interminable dinner guests doesn't mean I can't do it when I need to.
Oh,
I'm
well,
not good at it. I just didn't like it.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but that's basically what at least some part of the rest of your eternal life is going to be consumed by.
Oh, I know. But at the very least, I'm not. At the very least, I'm at least expected to be an intelligent agent of her with her own like desires and like abilities and like reasons to more to offer than just a pretty face and a family name.
That said, I would recommend defaulting to just, I am a pretty face with a family name.
Mm-hmm.
Just to stay under their notice.
Given how apparently everything I've said has apparently I've speculated two things to be true, I don't want to speculate any further in fear of continuing to be true. Continuing to be right about things.
Yes, many of us Malkavians have that phase. I will admit, we probably have them more often than Vontra do, but yes, be careful what names have power in this land. In this land and the ones we are about to visit. This is Europe. This is... Well, I mean, all continents have their own history going back thousands of years, but here it's because, well, for better or worse, colonialism, imperialism started here. That history is unbroken.
Well,
and can hear you.
Well, at least we're not in Romania, right?
Well, no, we're not Sabat.
Well, no, I mean, I was making it was a
what?
joke.
Okay, sorry. I'm a little high-strung right now. I'm sorry.
It's all good. I was making you see that it was a joke because that's where the book Dracula is set, and it's like, can I?
Wait, someone wrote a book about Dracula?
You haven't read Dracula?
Yeah.
Oh, that's... Huh. Well, that author is either in a lot of trouble or was well paid to sell a bill of goods, and the popular... Oh, good. That's a later problem.
To you, but Dracula was the villain in that one.
He was.
I mean...
yes.
He might have wanted that on purpose. I don't... You know what? I'm not going to speculate.
It's a problem for later.
I do not want to know.
Mr. Bram Stoker.
I don't want to know. We'll talk about it later.
I mean, I assume I would. I was not planning on bringing it up because I just
No?
assumed it would be gauche.
No.
Cherise, like, as you're commenting on being high-strung, you feel like a psychic shoulder
Oh.
rub going on.
Aww.
That's weirdly sweet.
It is.
Oh, hi, Flavorous Bob. That's my brother. And he just said, your dad is not here, I guarantee. I'm like, oh, you don't know what's going on in this game. Hi, bro.
And also, that being said,
So,
you know
Papa
what?
is giving me a psychic back rub. Okay.
Cherise, roll me a, this would be intelligence occult, to see what you actually know about the kindred Vlad Tepish.
It's just gonna be one lore dump after another today.
You guys are the ones giving me the opportunity to give you lore dumps.
Vern, mention some names too so that we can keep having John give us random lore dumps about things.
Honestly, the random lore dumps are what make the game for me.
They're extremely funny.
Oh, that is a 1 on my hunger die.
Okay. But did
So,
you succeed overall?
How many successes?
4.
Okay. So, with all of this talking back and forth of there actually being a book about the Tepish, it's like, oh, you mean like the 4th most famous chemise in the world of darkness?
Yeah, I was wondering about that, because, like, given the time era and who her sire being also a lore monkey, she would probably know Tepesh as a famous chemise, and not a book.
I think Johann may have mentioned him at one point, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, Johann may have mentioned him, but Sharice's sire sat down and drank with him.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna say that part.
Yeah.
So...
No, because you know that immediately Vern and Isabel are going to go with it, immediately want him to...
Alright, don't mention that name either, because, a person that goes by the name of Dracula, it may not be, I'll read the book later. I can't believe that. Well, I don't really read fiction, but I don't know if this is fiction. We'll see. Anyway, don't mention that name either, because he's actually one of the most famous Shemisi in the world, and they are not always well regarded in Camarilla cities.
Don't mention that, unless I'm specifically talking about the book for whatever reason, if that comes up. If
Don't even
probably
bring up
won't.
the book.
Bring up the book.
Well, I wasn't planning on bringing it up myself. I'm just saying, you know how conversations work, right? Sometimes things get brought up and just...
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay. Again,
it's not one of the names not to mention because there's
Just-
a horrifying,
just to
powerful,
reiterate-
very old person who
Yes.
knows about it. If I say their name, they'll know about it immediately and be like, "Ooh, who's this loser who thinks
What
they're hot shit and mentions their name?"
idiot wrote a book on Dracula, on the Tepesh, and is he still...
Mr. Bram Stoker died in 1912. I actually had that looked up just now.
Well, I wonder how he died. Anyway, well, I guess I'll look into this later.
He died at the age of 64 after publishing the book in
1891, I think.
1897.
Huh.
So he lived for like 15 years after that.
Well,
so
to be
I'm
honest,
pretty sure he was
alright.
able to run for...
I mean,
pretty
I'm always a little slow to read popular fiction. I've always been more interested in older books and lost tomes and things. So it's I'm not that into the popular literature, but I'll look into that. And
Don't worry, my love. Don't worry. Just don't bring it up for 2 reasons. One, more than a few of his progeny are here in London. I know that for a fact. Number 2, he hates that book. He didn't kill Brom, but that book did not do him any justice, and he's always been a little resentful of that.
okay, I'll tell them. So let's not mention that book, because not only did he hate the book, apparently some of his progeny are here.
That's very strange. You mentioned he was Tsumise.
Well, some...
I know we have one in Boston, but that's still as far as I'm led to believe,
different
that's still
cities?
That's still an anomaly in terms of Camarilla cities.
Well,
having
the thing is,
Tsumise.
London predates the Camarilla.
Mm-hmm.
So, people who wanted to stay here, even when the politics changed, either found ways to be grandfathered in, or just didn't join the new thing happening, or I assume this is based on what I've heard, but this place is older than the existence of the Camarilla.
And ultimately, loyalty to the Camarilla comes before loyalty to the Big Cheese. It's the first thing that came to mind.
All right.
I don't know.
Um,
I sounded dumb immediately after I said it. I'm not gonna call him the Big Cheese in polite society.
I just wouldn't bring that up at all, because...
Ratkin across the city are confused. Who speaks of the leader of our sect?
No, Big Cheese is a
It's
spirit,
for-
is the king's spirit of the food court in the spirit world. this court spirit of the food court.
Is this an actual thing, or are you just
No, this
making
is-
up? Okay.
This is something a friend made up for a Werewolf the
Okay.
Forsaken game a long time ago, and they're like, well, clearly we have to find the head of the spirit court, the food court, and it would be the Big Cheese. And
I just realized we're from 1920s Boston, so big cheese absolutely periods appropriate slang for this.
No.
all right, so
And
All right, let-
and whose name under Gaia is the Big Cheese.
how about this sort of stand line? Don't mention anything you think is a fictional kindred thing, a fictional thing about vampires. Just don't.
Yes.
We'll just avoid that topic.
Yep, I will. I won't mention. I won't mention Carmen. Her either.
What happens now?
How far into saying the name Carmilla did you get?
Carmit, and then Charisse interrupted me.
Definitely not far enough, right?
Now who's gonna say hi in my brain? Oh, it's
I
great
also
being
sent it real quick
hashtag Malk life.
to see if that was enough, because
Oh, god damn it.
when she was driven out of the east, she did settle in the far west of Europe.
Please save France. Please save France.
Please let us become and friends. So.
We're not gonna make it to the Elysium.
No, we're just.
It's not even
I
gonna
like
make
how
it
we've
that
had. I do enjoy how we've had like almost more than like 30 minutes of our session has just been this bullshit, and I love it.
Me
Absolutely
too.
love it.
It's world building.
Yep. And roleplay.
Yes.
And character misery and terror. From a conversation. That's what the World of Darkness is fun for.
So, after another 25, 30 minutes, your carriage comes to a halt.
Alright, so remember, just don't talk about any fictional vampire stuff, mythological. Don't talk about mythology. Don't talk about fairy tales. Just...
I wonder if King Arthur was
You are a Ventru. You are very proud of your Ventru line. Keep the conversation to your line.
Isabel is just immediately wondering if King Arthur is also a vampire.
So, yep.
She's not gonna
Isabel?
say it.
Isabel,
Yes.
please stop just like speculating here.
I didn't say anything.
I can see it on your face. Do not say anything.
Okay, and Isabel, you're absolutely sure you want to take the lead on this?
I'm sure I'll be.
Okay.
I won't mention the guy
Well.
with the. I won't mention the guy with the Excalibur. It's fine.
Anything?
Is that fine? Are you kidding me? I can't say Excalibur either. Is that also a thing? Okay.
So
are you
Isabel-
Yes.
This is England!
Thinking about King Arthur and thinking about Excalibur, there's it's not the same as the chill you had when you said the name Mithras or the name Gilgamesh, but now you just get this weird feeling like someone's staring at you right now. Like you just said a name that caused someone to go, hmm?
Yes?
And it, no matter where you look, it feels like it's from right behind your head, no matter how you turn around.
Guess who else is in torpor under the city?
No, this is a magical effect of Merlin.
Oh, god damn it.
Oh, that
This is not
scumbag.
Frickin' Merlin.
This one is not vampire related.
Fucking
This is
Merlin.
something else.
Nope. But there is a permanent magical effect over England that should anyone mention King Arthur or Excalibur, and there's an immediate focus brought there. It's like, okay, they're not trying to find where he's buried. That's fine. Moving on. The feeling does eventually fade. But your carriage comes to a halt, the doors open, and you see the several carriages that stopped before you, all now walking down this same long carpeted hallway with portraits lining the way down, and candles inside of glass enclosed sconces to help protect kindred that are excruciatingly flammable.
No gas lamps in this joint. Yet.
Inviting people down there to put in the gas lamps would be bad. Also, if there was a breach in the gas pipes, that would be more dangerous than the candles.
Do kindred need to breathe?
No. But gas can lead to bigger explosions than
totally.
falling on the ground.
And kindred might not notice as easily that a gas thing has ruptured.
Oh, they can smell it. Well, 6 1 half dozen of the other. So you are all escorted down, and on every side of you as you walk down, there are just rows and rows and rows of just immaculately dressed ghouls just standing there as you are all eventually led into this.
On our walk in, I would kind of like to do the same, Malk compulsion, which is look at all of the things, or look at the hallway, and...
I assume you're now just doing this more with your eyes dancing back and forth as you walk down. You're not stopping to investigate things.
Right.
Then yes, this would be perception awareness. Not perception awareness. It would be wits awareness.
Okay. Plus heightened senses?
Absolutely, you can use heightened senses. That didn't require a rouse check, I don't think. Heightened senses... Free. Yeah, it doesn't require a rouse check.
Oh, jeez. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Right to its discretion. Yeah, you haven't encountered anything to warrant a willpower check, so you're fine.
7 successes.
7.
How many invisible assassins are flanking us? No, maybe not. She's mostly looking for, like, trapdoors, exits, magical thingy, secret inscriptions, wackiness. I mean, if she happens to see an invisible assassin, she won't be surprised. Like, if they don't have at least 2 flanking them right now, then this isn't a very effective court.
You don't notice any invisible assassins.
Doesn't mean they're not
So it
there.
isn't different.
Doesn't mean they're not there. Just that they're very good.
What if they just assume that they're invisible? What if they just rely on the fact that people assume that that the invisible assassins are that good and there aren't actually invisible assassins, but because of the fact that if you try to hurt someone here, something far worse would happen.
Vern,
Are you going to tempt fate to find out?
Vern, you're accustomed to this. You know what it's like when a Nos who is obfuscated and is watching a target hears a target say something that just makes them go, ugh.
I didn't say the assassin thing in character. So
I was just...
If Isabel is
I'm
saying
sorry.
it in character, or not,
Well, I mean, I wasn't just saying it in response to you, so
okay.
if that
exchange
conversation
wasn't
didn't
in
happen.
character.
Okay,
But
so
it would
Vern,
be funny if
you don't hear at least 4 Nosferatu who are obfuscated go, ugh, as Isabel speaks. Because you are attuned to hear for it past obfuscate because of your nature as a fellow Nas. Also, they rolled absurdly high for all of their stealthy checks.
Alright, so
I just live my life assuming that I'm being watched.
Me too. That's why our clans get along so well.
I was, how you say, riffing.
So
But you are all...
so
you are
with
all of
7
the-
successes, do I see anything, or is it just this is a hallway with no secret passages or wards or weirdness?
You don't notice any secret passages. There are a couple of doors in this hallway from which ghouls are entering in and out. The ghouls that are entering appear to be slightly paler than the ones that are entering into the hallway. Someone's coming off shift. The paintings are, for the most part, of
Well, they're all
vet
real.
crew that have served the city well. There's more than a few paintings of Mithras as you proceed at different stages of his life and his reign.
Does he always have the same face?
Mithras never changed his appearance.
Okay, so they're all definitely of the same dude and
Oh, yeah.
labeled as Mithras. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Not like artists' interpretations of Mithras from the ages. These are actually portraits.
So does that make writing his name okay? Never mind.
But there are other portraits here that are of his progeny, and they will dictate, like, on the bottom, their name, how many generations they're removed from Mithras. There are a couple where the portraits have been removed, and the placards have been scratched out.
Very what we do in the shadows, but for probably a different reason.
Somebody dishonored the bloodline, so they were effectively removed from it.
Yep. And it's
I'm not
interesting.
even going to make you do the etiquette check for that one.
Yeah,
That's
and the placard states how many generations removed from Mithras, not Cain.
Yes.
Okay.
So all of the numbers are about 4 smaller than they should be.
Yeah. Hopefully 4.
Yeah, because he's 4, so like.
Hopefully he's just a Methuselah. Hopefully he's just a Methuselah and not anything higher gen.
Nope. Mithras is 4. He is not the antediluvian Ventru. He did not diablerize his sire. He is only a 4th generation kindred.
Oh,
Only.
Did that happen to the Von True? I thought that was the Bruja.
No, Vidartha just fucked. No, that was the Bruja. Vidartha, the actual Von True antediluvian in canon, apparently died off screen a long time ago.
I don't believe that for a moment.
No, he's alive. He's running around.
Yeah.
He's faked his death a couple of times to avoid Anoia, because he's second on Anoia's hit list right after Arakel.
He's never shown. He doesn't show up in any of the what are they called, the fucking
novels,
the endgame scenarios.
Oh, the wheel, the
he doesn't show.
or the Gehenna
he never shows up in them, and the implication in them is that he's either dead or just lying low for a bit.
He's gonna see who wins, and then he's gonna come out.
I'm going to tell you right now, he is lying low, because there's a couple of other antediluvians that want his head for various reasons.
However, he also has 10 dominate, so he can just say,
nope.
You don't think I'm alive.
I am not here.
Doesn't help when 3 of the ones that want to kill him also have 10 dominate.
Fair enough. But
or at least going back to the old rules where varying generation and degrees of discipline control could affect whether or not a discipline worked on you at all.
Yeah, I just assumed he was using his 10 dominate, 10 presence, 10 potence to just pretend to not, just to pretend to be to just convince everybody that he's not. This is completely out of character. He just sort of saying, "I'm dead. Just ignore me."
No, I'm going to tell you right now that there's enough talk about it where there are people that suggest that he died, because there are things that suggest it, but there's differences saying that it happened 10,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago. It happened. Why it actually happened during the Great War? It couldn't have happened during the Great War. Why? Because every Ventrue would have flipped their shit during the Great War.
The year of the week of nightmares would have happened 80 years earlier, but for a different clan.
Yes.
That did not happen, so we're all good.
Yes. So that's the only thing that convinces people that the stories of the Ventrue Antediluvian's death are all fake, is the fact that there's no record of the Ventrue all going batshit at some point.
Although if any clan could cover that shit up, it'd be the Von True.
It would be the Ventrue. But most people are convinced he's still alive.
But especially now that the Ravnos clan flaw is if they stay in one place too long, they die the same way their antediluvian did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like Absimiliard who's a problem.
Yeah. No. The Gangrel know very well that he's still alive, because Anoia knows he's alive. And he's like I said, he's second on the hit list right after Arakel.
Anyway,
of course, if he runs into him first, that's something else altogether. But
returning to this murder plot.
Yes,
because
you're
it's
all brought
7 minutes till break.
Yes. So you're all brought into this lavish ballroom, which when you enter and there are stairs leading down onto this large court floor, there are actually long wrapping balconies going 5 floors up, filled with kindred and ghoul attendants that are milling about. And you are seeing just from looking around, you're like, oh yeah, I can pick the Ventrue out. There's a lot of Ventrue here.
Mm-hmm.
They have just that slightly higher degree of snob than, yep, those are all Toreador. The fashion sense tells me those are Toreador.
Mm-hmm.
Those are Brujah. Those are definitely the Brujah. Those are, well, there's no way I'm mistaking you for anything other than a Chemise. As you see, there are several figures here with very radically altered faces,
Mm-hmm.
taking on slightly bestial in some instances. In others, it looks as though they had begun to fuse inorganic materials into their faces to increase the level of terror. There's at least one.
His face is upside down. That's a
no.
joke. That doesn't need to be one of those faces upside down.
That's
sorry.
actually what happened to a particular ghoul who's still standing there with a collar and leash around their neck, held by one particular Chemise. Their entire face is in fact upside down. There's at least one who's standing there speaking with some of these other Chemise who looks almost radically normal until they smile and just reveal that the inside of their mouth has more in common with a shark or a lamprey than with an actual human being.
Mm.
So it's really weird when you try to picture a lamprey smiling, but that's kind of what it is. It just turns into and then a row of just teeth going down, some of which flex out from behind the lips before going back in.
Oh, okay, so like that. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not the first. The first thing I pictured was like the sexy anime shark teeth characters that you see sometimes.
No.
This is not viral from Gurren Lagann. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But you can pick out the high clans easy enough. They make up the majority of what's present. There's not a lot of low clan representation unless you count the Brujah. It depends on who you're talking to as to where they fall, high clan, low clan. There's a couple of figures there dressed in what looks more like educators or magus robes representing Tremere presence in the city. And you watch as everyone who went in before you is now standing on this carpet in the middle of this large court area. And you are all waiting about 20 feet apart as everyone is continuing to talk about, mill about, some drinking straight from ghouls, some bleeding ghouls into cups just for the hell of it. A couple of Chemise have ghouls present that have been physically reworked to just be missing large portions of their midsection, leading into the establishment of a tray and cups that blood can actually be poured into from a faucet. Which does unnerve some people, but you note some intrigue in the eyes of others who aren't Chemise, though immediately, oh yes, so unnatural, yes, of course, so convenient, but yes, unnatural, raw.
There's no romance in it.
And it is at this point when you hear the slam of the butts of metal staves into the ground, staves rather, into the ground, and your attention is brought to where 2 kindred are standing in full plate mail wielding halberds as they announce that all attention is to be paid and respect to the Prince of the City, Queen Anne, Liege of England, as a figure steps in a rich, elegant, dark blue gown, adorned in jewelry focusing heavily on diamond, sapphire, and emerald. Sorry, the word just flew out of my head for a moment. with dark brown hair pulled back into a tight bun, and she steps in front of this grand and ostentatious throne. And there is a bit where every kindred here raises their cup and says, "Praise be to Queen Anne, may she reign for all of time."
Praise be to Queen Anne, may she reign for all time.
I say it too, but I don't have a cup, so I go into a deep curtsy wherever I'm standing.
Well, yeah, I don't think have we been, if we haven't been given cups, then yes, then yeah. So will Isabel.
You've had your opportunity to grab them if you've been so inclined, but if you haven't,
yes.
perfectly fine. Yeah.
Well, of course, you grab you grab the cup when it's offered.
Charisse,
I think
while we're
Isabel did
walking,
it without even thinking about it.
While we're walking, Charisse is probably before we get to the courtroom is gonna like position us with Isabel in the front and Charisse and Vern kind of flanking them a bit behind them. Yeah. And if Vern looks up, confused, like Charisse just like.
I'm gonna stay a couple of steps, or not a couple of steps, but like, a half step behind you so that I can follow your lead.
Yeah.
I'll just bow my head when she comes in and show the proper, physical deference without making a big deal of it.
So Anne takes this cup from a platter that a servant is holding there. "Praise be to Londinium, the eternal city of kindred might. And may the blessings of Mithras continue for all time." Cups are raised in agreement as she takes her seat, drinking long from the cup. "Now, I believe we have guests present in the city. So please, let us begin with the formalities."
Honor me with you.
That's where we'll take our break.
Yeah.
Perfect timing. God, are we gonna survive court?
Important question.
Yes.
Am I riffing and joking too much? If it is a problem, I can stop. I apologize.
It's not a problem yet. Like, it hasn't come up at any point when it would be super inappropriate, but if it were to break the immersion or someone else's role play, then yeah, we're gonna have to have a talk.
It's one of the reasons I do funny voices when I can. It's because when I'm not using the funny voice, I'm definitely speaking out of character.
Yeah, I just have difficulty trying to do an effeminate voice and then throwing on the British accent.
Totally. I'm just like making sure that it wasn't a problem, because I was like, this is sort of a dark gothic horror type thing we got going on here, and I don't want to I like riffing as part of like my RPG experience. I consider that kind of integral to it, to just.
Okay, so now we'll go on break, and we'll talk more about this off stream.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, we're still on stream.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Still on stream.
Hi, guys.
Hi. All right.
Again, for those who are watching us to learn more about role playing, these are conversations you will have to have with your party, whether you are doing it for streaming or just around a table. Because while bursting into laughter and having non sequiturs are fun, they can also sometimes be very, very distracting and inappropriate.
All right. So
it's important in open dialogue.
Yes.
So we are going to go on break for 10 minutes, and then chat. We'll be back to see if our vampire characters survive an audience with Queen Anne, the child of the queen of the Mithras cult, and yeah, okay. See you in 10. Hello, chat. We're back, and hopefully I fixed the audio.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Ultimately, TTRPG streams being too quiet is sort of always a problem. And then then you turn up the volume, and the Twitch ads are so fucking loud, and it's uncomfortable. Anyway, we're back. And, we are about to, be introduced to the Queen of Londinium. Because we're vampires.
Yes.
And this won't go badly at all, I'm sure.
Certainly not.
It's fine.
What could possibly go wrong?
Everything's fine. We're surrounded by walking masquerade breaches. Everyone here is a member of the cult of Mithras and an elder. It's fine.
Everything is fine. Nothing has gone wrong once.
So,
So,
Isabel,
Yes.
you are the first to notice with your etiquette check of 4, as the first individuals at the head of this line go through the spiel of introducing themselves to Queen Anne, bowing deeply and reciting the long lines of Ventru, as well as the achievements of their predecessors, and basically going into a far more involved version of the Ventru bloodline spiel than you're accustomed to. I don't know enough about my bloodline in order to give a spiel like that. I hope that's not a big deal.
Well, I definitely can't make things up. What can I? Now, I do know a decent amount about Johann, but unfortunately, that's only one.
As
Okay.
those
Play into came from the old world to learn these things.
Yes, that. Yes.
Yeah.
they step aside. The next set of kindred.
I actually wonder if that was in character Vern and Isabel sort of whispering slightly to each other off camera.
No,
okay,
not opening my mouth in this place.
Okay, yeah, that would be dumb. Yeah, that would be dumb. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, Vern, you have noticed you've been getting more than average disdainful looks being a Nosferatu here and not invisible. What the fuck's wrong with you? And the fact that you dress like people. Ugh.
Does Isabel notice that people are looking at Vern that way?
Oh, it's hard not to. They're not fucking hiding it. The Masquerade.
Well, nor am I, but I'm going to make a stir with my appearance alone.
I think Isabel is going to try to just do I think Isabel's just first instinct, without even thinking about it, is just going to be trying to do just a little reassuring hand squeeze, reassuring sibling handhold squeeze to Vern, because she doesn't like this either, but she's not going to because but she doesn't want to get in too much trouble, so she's just going to do something little like that. Just hey, I'm here. Just sort of be like, hey, I'm here. Don't worry, but these people just hey, I'm here. These guys aren't shit. You're ride or die, baby.
That certainly gets a reaction.
She's trying to be subtle about it, but yeah, unfortunately, she's not thinking too much about it because she's just her first instinct. It's her first instinct because that's who Isabel is as a person.
Right. So the next one that comes up, they go through the Ventru spiel again, talking about the great deeds and accomplishments of each of their ancestors as they work back, and every so often also comment at what points their ancestors conducted a service for the city of London or for Queen Anne or Mithras specifically. Or for any other member of the bloodline between Mithras and Queen Anne, because there's a couple of generations in the middle there.
Bad news. I can't. The bad news about it is my bloodline is not from Mithras, I assume, because otherwise I would just be able to just repeat some of this stuff, because it seems sometimes
you go back to a different Methuselah, I'm afraid.
Unfortunately, no. Say that's the bad news. The good news is, then I don't have to. Then I don't have to. That I'm probably not. I'm hopefully not going to be expected to mention anything about things my family has done for them, because different bloodline.
Actually, that makes a very good point, and something we should do real quick here.
So yeah, good news, bad news.
This wouldn't really be academics necessarily. But because they don't have a history skill, make me either an intelligence academics or intelligence occult check.
It wouldn't be politics?
You know what? Yeah, politics.
It doesn't actually matter because it's the same, but yeah.
You could make an intelligence politics check.
To be fair, they're all the same for me, so it doesn't matter too much. They're all one die there, and intelligence I got 3, so well, that's 1 success, so that's not great.
Yeah, okay. That's fine.
So you don't get to throw me a bone here to get me extra information with 1 success, I assume.
Yeah, with 1 success, you have no idea what history the far back portions of your family may have to to Mithras. Like, no idea if a certain fourth generation kindred from your bloodline may have had beef with Mithras, or Mithras had beef with him.
I can spin this.
That's not encouraging.
No, it isn't. That was my goal.
How to squick the whole table without breaking any lines or veils. I have taught you well.
On the the next to come up start recounting through. They announce themselves a little bit differently. Instead of bowing graciously and doing blessings to you, Queen Anne, I am so-and-so of the bloodline of so-and-so, child of so-and-so, 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 and going back through the line. This one bows deeply and goes, greetings to you, Queen Anne. I am Brother Dimitri of the cult of Mithras, child of, and begins running through his entire lineage, and then ends by saying that he is of the clan Shemise.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone here, regardless of whether or not they are Ventru, appears to be reading down through their clan like a Ventru, or at least the one who has thus far identified himself as a member of the cult of Mithras has. Queen Anne has mostly, welcome to my city, please enjoy yourself. Welcome to my city, please enjoy yourself. Brother, welcome home. It is good that you have returned to our fold. Please, come and embrace your siblings in the faith. And he bows and proceeds to resume mingling. A few more go through, and then finally it becomes your turn.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you have had enough time to hear everyone else go through all of this. So you can make me another charisma etiquette check to try and figure out the best way to word what you have.
Yes.
Or this will be your opportunity to attempt to just lie through your teeth.
So here's my thing. I'm actually not planning on lying through my teeth here, because the reason why I'm not planning on lying through my teeth is because Queen Anne is very old. The chances that she knew someone in there are high enough that if I lie, it could potentially like create more problems than if I simply admit ignorance. But spin that. But here's what my plan is here. So here's the plan. I'm going to start with I will start with myself, and then I move to Johann von Kriegelstein. His accomplishments I can mention, and I will mention those. Stretch those as far as I could. Then mention the rest of the names and saying regrettably. Up to Ventru, which I know, but obviously I don't have them written down anymore on my sheet. But I assume that if it matters, like if the names matter, you'll mention them. I assume at some point if they come up. And I say regrettably, due to my presence in the new country, so far removed from the society here and my family's foreholdings in Vienna. I regrettably know little of their lore and less of their history, which is why I've come here to learn from those who knew them and who know, and to learn from those who knew them, to learn from those who understand what they represent, and well, perhaps to gain a better appreciation of my role within society and my lineage is accomplished, and what in the lineage I have to be proud of. After all, I am Ventru. I come from the line of kings.
Make me a charisma persuasion check.
All right, we'll do. All right, baby, come on.
Hearing that, Cherie starts to her
5 successes.
Start to unclench.
Hell yeah!
And
5.
she's just, okay, that's perfect.
5 successes.
I have heard the names of your line before. My condolences for their purge in ages past. I'm afraid you will not find much here on them. But I advise that perhaps returning to Vienna to learn something there would not be best for your health, child. There are those there who still bear a grudge against your bloodline, and should they find out it is not gone, you might be.
Queen Anne, I thank you for your kindness in mentioning. Thank you for your kindness in this advice. I will keep that in mind and make sure to stay on my guard.
And then her eyes roll back, and she looks at Charisse, and she looks at Vern, lets out a soft scoff, and just waves the three of you on.
I give a deep curtsy and just like, thank you.
I give a nice head nod.
We are clearly
Told
just
you.
Deference.
She also, Charisse, acts in deference to Isabel, is like, we're just her servants, because she's awesome. And we go with that. Just like,
Yeah.
just deep bow, thank you, we'll leave now.
Cool. In that case, since you're trying to sell a lie here...
No, it's not a lie.
It's a little bit of a lie.
I am truly just here to help Isabel until we find Watts. Like,
and I'm just here to
I
pick up a
recognize that
book.
she's in charge here.
Yeah, I'm just here to pick up a book. From the start, Isabel's got a much weirder quest ahead of her than the rest of us.
Okay.
And I'm a Malkavian, and I'm saying that shit. Like, you know.
You are kindly waved on, as the next in line are permitted to speak, and you are able to freely mingle, though there are more than a few who continue to look at your gathering, and again, noting the fact that it was a Ventrue squeezing the hand of a Nosferatu. What? Oh, it's almost as unnatural as a Toreador touching a Nosferatu. Oh, what? Oh, wrong. Unnatural.
Oh, that's right. Phantom of the Opera hasn't come out yet.
Oh, that's true.
Like crossbreeding cats and dogs. It's wrong.
And getting foxes. What?
We're not even mentioning the fact that we're mortal siblings, because that'll be even weirder to them, probably.
There are those that it would at least make a measure of sense to if that was made clear. Unfortunately, it is not clear.
Yes.
All they saw was a Ventrue and a Nos squeezing hands.
Mm-hmm.
Any family resemblance we may have had is long gone now.
Oh, yeah.
I
mean, like, I think if it comes up, it comes up, but, like...
Ari, 1 second. Yes, Chris?
I would like to do so the mechanics of the Malk network are not super clear in this edition yet.
Yeah.
And I have not had the wherewithal to actually look for homebrews, so, sorry. She would like to do, like, not necessarily a ping on the Malk network. Radar hasn't been invented yet. She would like to use her Malkavian radar to see if there are any in this room.
Okay.
Just in case, you know. She's gonna stay with Isabel, but she'd at least like to acknowledge, like, oh, hi, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not talk here.
We'll call this one... Yeah, this would really just be... This would be wits, awareness, aspects.
Okay, because I just have lure to Malk stuff is what we agreed upon initially.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't find the lure sheet.
Yeah, Auspex is the thing you'd be using for Malk shit in general.
Yeah.
And there's really no better attribute for the whole reaching out and pinging than wits awareness at this point. So wits awareness Auspex is what you will do for your kindred shit, for your Malky crap.
Okay.
Your Trappian, if you will.
Even if it's just, you know, looking around the room with heightened senses and noticing someone's wearing a small, discreet little clan symbol on a cufflink.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, the Malks have this in part to be able to see each other.
Yeah.
Without causing a ruckus.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's very important for Malks to protect each other and cover for each other, and yeah.
Very much so.
Because everyone else might just decide to kill them one day. Okay. That was a success, so. That's a success. All right, only 4 successes this time.
Okay. Awesome. So, you
So I'm
you start,
attending to Isabel and just sort of looking around the room, just curiously.
as you open up your mind to reach out to other Malkavians, you start to hear the sound of water splashing against stone and wood, and you catch faint notes of the sea. And you hear the sound of people talking outside and lively music and chatter that is not in line with what's going on around you. And you hear a voice go, "If you wish to speak with us, child, we hang out by the docks for the most part. You're more than welcome to come down."
Charisse, in this place, will do her best to just, not say anything. Oh, wait, no, we're Malkavians, or telepathic.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yes, if we have time, I'll stop by. Thank you. And,
It would be advised.
Indeed, that I'll do my best to prioritize this. Thank you.
Excellent.
Is this Mama Leone?
It is safe to assume.
Well, this is why I do research before I travel. All right. GM, do we need to go to the docks to get out of London anyway?
I mean, to get to Paris, yes.
Okay, then yeah. All right, you're on our way. We'll see you soon.
I think Isabel's play here is to try to find out, talk to some kindred and see if she can find out more about her, like, about the purge. Just see if, like, I know that might be, like, disadvantageous because she, like, associated herself with Vern, but she did also acquaint herself very well with the court, so I don't know, like, what that means.
I'm not going to make you bother to roll this. The courts of London are aware that it happened, but no one really knows the specifics. It was a different court, and if those Ventru weren't strong enough to hold their own against a couple of uppity other clans, then they clearly weren't real Ventru, so whatever. We don't really give two shits. There's not really anyone here who identifies as being of Austrian descent that might have had slightly more interest or involvement. So you're mostly...
Okay.
It's a lot of what you heard. It's like a little bit of hearsay here. One person said it was the Tremere that did it. Someone else says it was a clan of Chemise. Someone comments that it was actually the Ventru were getting too uppity, so the prince had them wiped out.
The prince of that city was a Nos?
Yes.
Yes, or is currently a Nos.
Is currently
as far as we know. Okay.
Okay, so nothing more than the fact of, okay, there was a purge. And my family had enemies. Johann was presumably was Johann the only Johann is the only known survivor.
Yeah,
yes.
and that's purely because he was out of town at the time, and nobody realized he was out of town because he fucked off after having a fight with his sire over something. So he just fucked off for a bit, got out of town, and when he was heading back into town, found out, oh, I missed the wiping out of my entire bloodline by about 6 hours. Cool.
Back to the New World.
Bye. Okay, bye.
That's a yikes.
Welcome to Vampire the Masquerade.
More or less.
Shit gets real, man.
And Johann's been traumatized by that ever since.
As you would be.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not going to make you roll for that because there really isn't much opportunity to pick up more of that lore here.
On the upside, if they don't know much about... Actually, we'll roleplay this later, after we exit court. Because Shuri's doesn't really want to speak out loud here.
Yeah. So you're all free to mingle for a little bit and gather
Mhm.
whatever other information or polite as you can. But again, mostly you were just here to pay your respects to Queen Anne, and
Yeah.
there were already a couple of kindred who were there ahead of you who have already fucked off. Like a lot of them are there still playing the politic game because they plan on staying. Others
Yeah.
did the whole shtick and just made a point to put it aside because I really have to get going. I have to be I have to be
Well,
over in Dublin.
I just
so
don't have. Yeah.
I
I
need
just,
to get going.
Yeah, the rest of us, like, I
I'd
mean,
consider like making it. Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know. Well, it's just out of character, since the only points of port for this Zeppelin business is London and Boston. They've probably expedited things in advance for people just passing through, just to get us out of the Queen's hair.
Yeah.
And not waste her time.
Yeah.
And
like-
plus, if you try anything, her scourges will tear you apart.
Yes.
Well, I mean, duh. Like,
And like
of course.
she would consider like trying to make some contacts if people were like discussing like business, but I don't think that's the kind of court this is. Like if there was like something she could like take advantage of and like expand her own network, but it doesn't sound like this is the kind of place where that would make sense, right?
Not planned on moving to London.
Yeah, no plans on that. She likes Boston. She has a place in Boston.
Europe seems a little scary so far.
Yeah, apparently I can't mention like I can't even talk about like I can't talk about the oldest story in the world.
Well,
I mean,
not when he's in the city, you can't.
all right. So after polite sticking around for a few minutes, do we start heading towards the exit?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Following your guys' lead.
Mm-hmm.
You all politely excuse yourselves, and you find the carriages outside. You are directed over to your own, the one that you came in.
Mm-hmm.
The individual who was driving the carriage opens the doors and goes, "To the docks next."
Yes, of course.
Yes. GM, do we already have passage booked to Paris?
Yes, you do.
Okay, we were able to do that
Already
through the
been
Zeppelin.
there. You have
people.
I assume you have your tickets on you, but
Yeah.
your luggage has already been moved on to catch the ships.
Okay, that is the kind of premium service we would expect from this. You know, again, their only port in Europe is in London, so
So far, this is just the first one. They plan on expanding.
yeah, I know.
Assuming nothing happens in the next 10 to 20 years involving some terrible war and espionage and a bunch of genocidal lunatics.
And you know,
The
another
likelihood
Zeppelin,
of that happening.
another
That's
Zeppelin
ridiculous.
exploding really bad.
That's ridiculous. We've already had like a grand war with a massive amounts of loss of life. We're coming off of that. Why would anyone want to
Yes.
go to war and kill a bunch of people again?
Surely that will never happen again. The world could not possibly go to war with itself twice. Anyway,
I do want to like say a role playing thing. Once she's left the like Elysium stuff and like been onto the streets and like ordered a carriage, Isabel visibly relaxes and makes just an ugly face and says, "God, completely and utterly pointless. All of that was. All it was me. All it was like a nice. It was a nice little bit. It was a nice little bit of farewell and a bunch of.
please.
Yes, Vern? What's up?
Did we?
It was not entirely pointless.
Not pointless.
Politics are everything.
Yes, but like all of the pageantry and like.
No,
Please,
this
I prefer.
No,
Quite frankly, I prefer.
I'm not going to argue with you.
is
Quite
bad.
frankly, I prefer it back at Boston. At least there, when someone wants something from you, they're willing to ask for it
Well,
instead of.
Isabel, this... Well, I only know this from an outsider's perspective, obviously, but this is what it is to be of Untrue. If the Prince of Boston was of Untrue, this would be far more familiar to you. So,
Have
and
to wonder.
it's not pointless, because you made a very good impression on Her Majesty, and then she gave you some helpful advice.
That is saying something.
You should
What's
listen to the Malky lass.
I know.
Wait, who's
It's
talking
just different-
now?
I know.
now?
That was a real actual voice, Therese.
Oh, goodness.
This is when a a focus of obfuscate drops, and there is a Nosferatu in a coat with a short duster over the shoulders and a top hat on appears sitting next to Vern in the carriage.
Oh, hello.
I know Charisse is right. It always sets me on edge when people are so rude and barbaric about my brother.
You think it sets you on edge?
Oh,
Maybe don't say anything next time.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Oh. That cost me 30 quid.
Oh, they just... No.
Right, well, somebody had to settle a bet.
What was the other possibility?
Well, I mean, as much as it turned everyone's stomachs, the idea of a venture and a nos.
No.
Well, I mean, it is the new world.
We still don't do
The man's face says it all.
Sir, we come from a city run with city of Boston, where there's a Malkavian as a prince. It's all topsy-turvy over there.
I like things right side up, thanks.
Understood.
Right, well...
Fair enough.
Are you here for our security, or to make sure we don't screw anything up?
Or just to settle that bet?
Both?
And the third thing.
I apologize for any rudeness. I meant no offense to the prince, and she's immediately.
I don't give a shit. I don't buy into the Mithras cult crap.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Don't wait. Why is it okay for you to mention his name?
Why wouldn't it be okay for me to say his name?
Well, Charisse told me that if I mentioned his Miss Lowell told me that if I mentioned his name, that apparently he could notice it, and this was bad, and I don't know how that works. I also can't mention you.
We're not even going to go into that.
Right, so you demented both of them then, right, love?
No, I don't do that. I don't do that. Look, my family is well versed in how things you thought were myth and magic and mystery when you were mortal turn out to be very, very real once you went to the long nights. There is history here of likes that these young American people have no context for.
Right, yeah, so...
You don't want to... Names have power, and you don't want someone... You don't want to step on the wrong name. Yes, I'm a Malkavian. Let's just leave it at that.
Right, yep. So you're heading to the docks. I assume you're going to go speak with the mama down by the docks before you all head out.
Yes, I've had an inkling. I've been told the Malkavians hang out down by the docks. I was going to tell you to... once we got in the carriage, anyway. So yes, I'm probably going to go say hello to Mama Leone, and then we will board a boat to Paris. And then
Don't linger too long.
Hmm?
Don't linger too long.
We have no intention of lingering in London at this time, sir.
All right. The carriage eventually pulls itself down by the docks. You can already smell the sea coming in through the closed doors. Right. There'll be somebody watching you at all points of the evening as you pass through.
Of course.
We do.
Of course, sir.
And he just tips his hat and just sort of flickers out of view. And then the door just swings open and you feel like the subtle shift in weight as he gets out, but otherwise you have no way of processing where he is. He's far more advanced and obfuscate than what you're accustomed to, Vern.
So there,
But yes,
so there were invisible people watching us at all times. That makes sense.
I told you.
One of the
Just exist as if you're being watched at all times, because you probably are.
I'll make sure.
yeah.
We're
Especially if you're
strangers
going
in
to-
a strange land. They are going to watch us.
Especially if
I'll
you're
make
going
sure
to
to mind-
Paris. There's tons of nos down there. We're watching you all the fucking time.
I'll make sure to mind my tongue a little better.
Oh yes, the
Please
Nosferatu
do.
rule the catacombs. That's lovely. You're a hungry cat. Hello, kitty.
I love the cat interruptions. They give me so much life.
Same.
And because there is a fussy cat that needs attending to, and Dracus needs to step away, we should probably call it here before you go meet up with Mama Leone, because that might eat up another 45 minutes of roleplay.
Let's go piss off the
And
other
it deserves
court.
it.
I didn't piss off the court.
No, I mean, no, we didn't. But
I
now,
did.
now watch me screw this up with my own clan.
My day is coming.
Yeah.
It is not today.
No,
But,
Parry will be your day.
Oh,
Charisse
yeah.
will be all about, like, good job, Isabella. Isabel, that was very well done. Just, one thing Charisse will mention. So, the bad news seems to be that no one here knows of what happened to your family in Vienna.
No.
But the good news means that if these courts are so insular, then no one there will already know you're coming.
Hopefully they won't
with-
even know I exist.
Yes, and without a
Well,
Ventrue Prince, you won't have to announce your entire lineage upon entry.
indeed, that would be, unless they, of course, that is to say, and thankfully nobody in the court that day was Austrian.
Mhm.
Because if someone there was, that would be a potential problem.
Yes, I get the feeling if someone there knew what happened to your family, the entire group would.
Yes, and
So,
well, it seems like my family had enemies.
yes, I dare say
hopefully-
you should start working on a yarn now.
A what?
Spin them a yarn, so when we get to Vienna, you'll know exactly what you're going to say, which is not
Oh, a
your
cover
actual
story.
lineage.
Is a yarn like period appropriate slang for this point?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
it's
Okay,
also British
I've
slang.
never heard it out of character referred
Spin 'em,
that way. That's
uh,
why
Oh,
I was
it's
confused
like
out of character.
The social primary comes in from having lied to all the bad guys outside. Oh, I spun them a yarn. We've got
Yeah,
5
that
minutes
makes
before they
sense.
figure out. Yeah.
I could take. I'll come up with something.
Anyway. So all right.
Could just be part of like a bit. Could just mention some business transactions or something that I need to meet with. I mean, it's a pretty. Hell, if I get lucky, that part may even be true.
Vern, that's if it's the Nosferatu who had it out for the Ventrue. You might also not want to make sure you don't explain too much about who Isabel is once we get to Vienna.
I don't explain shit to anybody.
Okay. That works.
There is cat.
I've just come across the pond to pick up a book. I'm far more worried about you two.
Miss Lowell, I really appreciate your kindness in working with the two of us. It's
Well, one more friend of Clan two more friends of Clan Malkavian certainly isn't a point in our disfavor.
the
fewer people who want to kill my people, which I can very much relate to, the better.
If London is going to, if London being run like this means, if your clan running Boston means that it stays the way it is, quite frankly, I think I much prefer that state of affairs.
You and me both. All right, and now on to the rocks. And okay, I'm done role playing.
Yes, and that's what we'll call
One thing I think it's interesting about Isabel is that like completely like coincidentally we came up with like a reason that makes as to why she's like very different from other Ventrue and doesn't have the same attachment to her clan that most other Ventrue have because of what happened to Johann.
But don't let the other Ventrue know that.
Yeah.
Or they will
totally.
murder us all. Woohoo.
Of course.
Is that a Jetson again?
I mean, I mentioned like there might be like some relation with the Ventrue Primogen in Boston, whoever it is.
I mean,
Was that-
it's the U.S. It's chill.
Yeah.
We're
Is it
still
Johann? I have
Not
no idea.
chill exactly, but a different kind of pressure at least.
like we're busy trying to not die of Sabbat attack. We're a little like, okay, old world blood feuds. We'll deal with that later.
Yes.
Yay!
So much.
Alright. So,
Thank you. Yeah. Vern, Dracus, we're out of character now. Thanks for coming, like despite the stuff that's going on. It's really like nice of you to be here.
Okay, so with that, thanks, chat, for watching us tonight. We have to close up a bit earlier tonight. So, yeah, we're still streaming, Ari.
This is the second time. The same day. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It happens.
Lol. Anyway, thanks for watching, chat. This is Magic Fish Radio. We stream Vampire the Masquerade on Tuesday nights, and on Saturday, I still haven't figured out if we're doing Exit to Eden or an indie game. Either way, I'm probably going to be running it. Woohoo! Exit to Eden is NWAD in space, and it's ridiculous. And we also like running indie RPG one-shots, and if you are an indie RPG writer, developer, or even just a fan, join our Discord, and, you know, if you want to stream a game for us, we're up for that if you are. Yay! And so, yeah, I guess I'll do my outro. I'm at Ms. Chrysala on Twitter. I'm also at Magic Fish Radio on Twitter, and I'm the channel producer and all this silly stuff. So I'm basically always here. And maybe also for video game streams if I can figure out when I'm scheduling them during the day. Probably during weekdays. But I got re-addicted to Animal Crossing, so why not stream it? In addition to that, I'm not sure what I can say exactly, but I have been cast in another game stream on another channel. So watch my Twitter to see where and when that is.
Cool.
I forget how much I'm allowed to say about it, and I know they want to make their own announcements, so I will be on their channel. Yay! Playing D&D.
There are dungeons and there are dragons.
Yes.
Presumably.
Maybe, based on the audition questions, maybe also vampires. But these are D&D vampires, which we all know are never, ever like World of Darkness vampires. John.
Never.
Are you telling me legitimate grounds for overlap?
Okay, well, we'll talk about this off
Strahd von
stream.
Zarovich could be a World of Darkness character very easily.
But we'll talk about that later. So yes, that's Chris. Work it backwards, Ari.
I will now look for someone to
raid. Hi, I'm Ari. I play Isabel Quincy here, and I have no real online presence. Good to see all of you again. I hope this I'm really enjoying this this chronicle, and I hope to see it continue. I like this group.
Yes, that means it's my turn.
Yes.
I'm Dracus. I've been playing Vern Quincy. I don't have a huge online presence, but you can find me here for most of our streams, both here on Tuesdays and on Saturdays. And I'm on Discord a lot, so yeah.
And I'm literally everyone else in the world. I'll be here on Tuesdays. And when this chronicle eventually wraps up, we'll see what comes up next. Who knows? I still call priority on there eventually being a Transformers game, but we'll see if Renegade actually releases that book in March like they said they would.
I'm up for anything. So, yay. Just give me enough time to make a proper overlay. Alright. There are suddenly a lot less people streaming on Tuesday than usual.
It's still the day after holidays.
Yeah. Oh, Perception Studio. Oh, that's right. Salen's Legacy Season 2 starts. And they're now streaming, so we can raid them.
Awesome.
That is not the channel I will be streaming on. It's not them. They're just really nice, and I like them. Alright, their game hasn't started yet, but they're streaming...
Yeah, perfect timing for us that are people then, because we'll catch all of it.
So, thanks again for pre-gaming with us for Perception Check. And, yeah, so... Yep, they're good. Oh, yeah, that's right. Fadir watches them, too. So, yeah, join our Discord, because I'm terrible at other forms of social media. And get ready to raid Perception Check. If I can remember how raid commands work. Yay! So yeah, until we see you next, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we will see you for nerdy distractions later. Bye!
Bye!